Really, honestly, I think Taiwan is a more developed nation than the United States in many ways, and in all the ways that matter. My goal is just to take in as many U.S. contracts as I can and just give them all to Taiwanese engineers.
Do you mind just introducing yourself? You can say where you're from and how long you've been in Taiwan.
Right. Caleb, I've been in Taiwan 2.5 years. I had originally heard about Taiwan and I was interested in learning more Mandarin, then came over. So I was here for a year, I taught English, loved it, but there wasn't a very stable career path for Bushiban English teachers. There seemed like a lot of opportunities that I might be able to do if I just had a little bit more something, either business acumen or an actual trade skill like engineering. And so last 7 years is me trying to get back. I needed something more, a little bit more strong.
I guess Taiwan left an impression on you.
Yeah, because I'm from Texas, right? I'm from Houston. It's not a very free place. When I came here, I witnessed firsthand the sunflower protests. Taiwan, it's such a young democracy. That was one of the big attractions for me. I was really inspired by the sunflower movement.
So then you went back to the States and you did a coding boot camp? Or?
Yeah, I did do a boot camp. Then I spent 6 years in San Francisco as an engineer. I wanted to feel confidently do contracting gigs remote. I had been reaching that moment. I was thinking okay, I'm kind of tired of the US. My fiance, I'd already taken her to Taiwan. We did a trip here and was down to move here at some point. And we found out about the gold card visa. I was like, well, this is literally perfect. This is our ticket in.
There's kind of an image of digital nomadism going to places like Thailand or Bali, but you decided to come here.
I'm made very uncomfortable by when you have USD behind you and then you go to a place else you are extraordinarily rich. Taiwan felt more equal footing. Really, honestly, I always keep that in me, but I think Taiwan is a more developed nation than the United States in many ways and in all the ways that matter. Your salaries might be higher in the US, and I think the salaries here are atrocious. There's obviously things that need to be worked on, but in terms of your healthcare, quality of life, safety, your political ability to stay involved, for the most part, people here, their needs are represented. And then not to mention, the big thing for me was motorcycling. The roads all over the mountain are high quality. I think that agency, those guys might have some fraternity and sorority of we keep the roads running, because I see them out there rappelling up landslides, so they keep the roads spotless. I used to ride in California all the time, and it was so bad. They're just big potholes. If you crash your scooter, you're going to get health care, whereas in the US, someone would crash and the cops would show up. I remember trying to treat this guy, just broken his leg on a bicycle. I was telling the cop, can you get your first aid kit? And he's like, we don't carry first aid kits. And they're all standing there watching us. I was like, what is happening? And then I'm telling the guy, we're going to get you an ambulance. He's like, no, don't call an ambulance. Call an Uber. Don't call an ambulance. Bicycling is pretty okay in Taiwan. Not great. It needs help. I got all sorts of things about pedestrian. There's lots of work on that front. I got a video series I want to do where I want to dress a guy up like a car, come up behind you, just start yelling get the fuck out of my way! Get the fuck out of my way! Because that's what a car does. You're walking and suddenly there's a guy beeping at you and you're like, what? I'm supposed to get out of your way? I'm walking here. I think a lot of my projects here and a lot of what Crossroads does as well is trying to point out that there's fervently passionate people like me that are I have time, I have resources, I want to give it to Taiwan, and we're having trouble connecting with where we can give that effort and energy. The primary obstacle obviously is Mandarin, and that's why the Bilingual Nation Initiative is still kind of a cool idea, right, to help integrate people that don't speak Mandarin. I think Taiwanese bureaucracy there's so many catch-22s you hear about. So one of my projects is Taiwanese websites are quite inaccessible from a web accessibility standpoint. Grandmas who don't got good thumbs, struggling to hit those tiny buttons. So I have a project where I'm cataloging all these issues and I'm trying to tell some government agency, I'll fix them for free. They'll be oh, but it's the contractor's role. We don't want to increase liability. And there's all these bureaucratic reasons. And if you're trying to get good things done, the best thing to do is just do them.
That's interesting though. As a foreigner, you're here and you want to make this contribution to a society that you've moved to.
I feel I'm not even doing that much, to be honest. People Tom or whoever, they're the ones who are really going above and beyond. Right? They've completely dedicated their lives to Taiwan.
Could you briefly describe your business and what you do out here?
I run a software engineering co-op, and a co-op is a form of business where the profits are shared equally among all the workers, rather than a traditional business where the shareholders or the business owner takes all the profits. You hope does nice things with them, pay people more, but usually they just make a lot of money. The reason I started it, the entry-level rate for an engineer at SF is $70 USD an hour. It comes out to $140K a year USD. And then out here, people are telling me they're making $30K USD a year. That just pisses me off. That just makes me mad. So my goal is just to take in as many US contracts as I can and just give them all to Taiwanese engineers. So we did that successfully last year. I was able to pay a Taiwanese engineer $70 USD an hour, which apparently was something like 7x their previous salary. We don't do makeup holidays. We are fully remote. No expectations of working hours, and yet so productive. Did you know if you pay people more, they work harder? It's yeah, who fucking knew? Everyone's gonna be why would I work for you? You're gonna make me do a makeup holiday? You're gonna make me come into work on a Sunday, and you're gonna pay me $1 million NTD? Well, Kay will pay me $7 million NTD, so I'm gonna work for that guy, right? That's gonna give me the best engineers. And when I have the best engineers, I can build the best product. And when I build the best product, I can get bigger and bigger and bigger. Then maybe I can start start pulling up salaries because everyone's going to have to compete. This happened in the Bay Area. Google and Facebook were making so much money that they could just throw money at engineers. And that pulled up everyone's salary. There is Google here, and Google is not paying high salaries. We can't count on them. So maybe we can do that. So if you're an engineer, hit me up, Caleb at 508.dev.
So you were mentioning that innovation in the States has kind of run its course.
Right.
Do you feel like Asia or Taiwan in particular is kind of taking the reins in that aspect?
The future of innovation is an open source, and Taiwan has adopted open source wholly with Audrey Tang and G0V. So much federation happening. Very creative people here. Audrey Tang might be willing to like lock out a segment of business for you for 2 years, I think, which is like straight protectionism. I don't know if I like that, but it breeds innovation. My view of innovation in America is that it's grim. I'm at the level now where I get pitched. Half of them, first of all, are cryptocurrency, which is fraudulent and does not help the world in any way. Sorry, Web3 people, like I don't believe in your bullshit. The other like third are insurance. If America did get socialized healthcare, all those businesses vanish immediately. So there's another third of innovation in America that's pointless. Some good ones, there's some cool ones doing like cool things with AI. Some people doing cool things with IoT.
Do you feel like there's a path to become like a citizen here, or what's your kind of more long-term view of settling down in a country that you like?
My long-term plan is to live in Taiwan like for the rest of my life. I mean, my long-term plan is also to never die. So like, it's the kind of person that I am. I want to get like a plot of land to build a commune here, set up a space where like artists, engineers, and anybody can just come and work and live. I think Taiwan is a pretty good place to do that. But if I'm not a citizen, I can't buy farmland, for example. As much as I like to shit on America, I'm not going to give the passport up. If that's a requirement, then I won't become a Taiwanese citizen. I'm assuming that it's going to get easier over the years. I have a lot of faith that the issues that I take with it these days are going to get better. I don't have that in America, and therefore I'm not there. Like, I think America's going to get worse.
What do you feel about like cross-strait relations then?
Tammy and I have like some pretty clear like red lines for we'll leave. We're not going to stay in a country at war. As much as I love Taiwan, I would not die for any country. My personal belief is that there's no great risk of like an invasion. I think the Taiwanese military is not prepared for an invasion. I've talked to friends that have worked in the military. I know what a joke military service is, how little training there is. That being said, like I'm not really worried about it because there's not really like an economic advantage, and economics drives everything these days. If the PLA invades, those factories are going down.
What are things that like keep you here? What are some of the things you like about this country?
Anyone that's talked to me knows that I'll preach how wonderful Taiwan is all day long. I'm really annoying. Love socialized healthcare. Thanks for letting me participate in that. I went to the hospital a couple times. Every time I get the bill, I just want to laugh. I'm just like, come on, really? U-Bike is phenomenal. I've never seen anywhere on earth that did it as good as Taipei. There's a lot of projects at G0V for like saving the languages. I wish people in America would do that. Food's good. Food is very good. I'm very food motivated, and night markets are really fun. In general, people like seem to have good faith in each other. They're quite nice to each other. Maybe they're not Americans, but they're just like hello to everyone they see. But like we had the two grannies like poke their heads in here earlier, and you know you can just be like hey, and they're like oh hey hi, you know they want to talk, right? Like that happens all the time in Taiwan. One time I was waiting at a scooter box, and like a dog was like let off the scooter to just like go in the grass and pee and get back on. All the scooters are like laughing. That's funny, you know. Like I think in America that like people have their barriers up. There's not this like machismo, toxic masculinity. I brought my family here. That was like one of the specific things my mom says. She felt like she was cared for, despite being like an outsider completely and only there for like a week and a half. She felt like she could be on her own entirely without me there to help out, and like people would be like, "Are you good? Like, do you need help?" She felt really taken care of, and that's clear at every level of Taiwanese society, whether it be bureaucratic or like private. In an American airport, the first thing that happens to you is a cop screams at you in a language you don't really speak. And like here, like your first interaction is the guy that gives you the little green card, like, okay, like just take this and give it to that person. You're like, great. And people are patient. You try to speak French in France, people just fucking laugh at you. Like here they laugh at you, but they're laughing with you. People are really friendly to my Mandarin. I got my motorcycle, got my fiance, like I got my lizard. Like what else do I need?